Michael Huber.
And more.
Heroes of the Storm. Blizzard's MOBA where they take all of their classic, I dare say, iconic characters.
Decades of lore and icons battling it out.
Duking it out. And today we're here to talk about that with...
I'm Justin Clinchu. I'm a senior technical designer on Heroes of the Storm.
And Heroes of the Storm has had a pretty crazy BlizzCon. You guys have announced some big things. Jaina and Thrall, honestly, and I'm not just saying this, two of my favorite characters in the Warcraft universe, especially Thrall. But last but not least, you threw us a curveball. Lost Vikings. It's been, I don't know how long since the last time we've seen them. And they're one of the craziest units in the game. Could you talk a little bit about that unit and what they do?
Yeah, so I mean, this is our first hero where we've really just embraced the idea of trying to control multiple heroes at once, and it's kind of crazy. It's definitely, this is not a hero for newbies. It's I mean, I even still struggle with them a little bit. I mean, because the potential there is awesome, and we've even seen, when we were playtesting it internally, we tried tactics where you put one Viking in each lane and just try to soak XP and just try to stay alive. And the other four just roam around and try to gank people. And if your brain can handle that, it's awesome, but
right.
it's tough. And so it's really cool though to be able to try something like that out and really have this hero that is very different than our other heroes.
Absolutely, and I only played one match, so I'm no expert. Feel free to correct me at any time. But what I noticed with the Lost Vikings is there's not a strong emphasis on active abilities. It's a lot about how each Viking has their own characteristics and how you utilize each one of them and micromanaging them. It seems like you can pretty much play the entire thing without worrying about active abilities at all.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. We do allow you to spec into some active abilities through their talents, and so that you can pick up a QWE throughout the course of the match. But really, like the core of the hero is, each Viking does play a little bit differently. You've got, Olaf is up there. He's a little more tanky. He's melee. He has a charge. Baliog can throw his sword and does a splash attack. And then Eric, of course, is super fast and has a longer range. And so it's really about trying to micro them, get them into the right position. And but through the talents, you can pick up some extra abilities to help you with that too.
Are you guys worried because when one of the Vikings dies, you still can control the other two? They're treated as separate entities. And I think to myself, the players that get really good at it, the players that can go in each lane and do well with each Viking, is that going to give them too much utility?
I mean, we're definitely going to keep working on trying to find the right tuning point for these, and it's going to be a challenge because, you kind of have to tune them for the player that can really take advantage of them. But I think we can make it work.
Heroes is one of the most interesting MOBAs that I've ever played because you guys, it really feels like to me when you sat down, we don't just want to make what has come before us kind of a thing. Other MOBAs are known for having a very classic 3-lane map where you always kind of have, everything is always in the same place. And here you have various team objectives and they can really swing the game in your favor. How do you guys decide what the objective should be and how much power it is and how that correlates with all the hero abilities? And how do you teach players about the importance of objectives? Well,
certainly one of our major design goals with different battlegrounds is to have a lot of strategy and a lot of variation in strategy between battlegrounds. And so we feel that, at a really competitive level, the teams that can really understand the strategies that work well on a particular battleground versus another, be able to pick their heroes around that and be able to execute on that, I think they're going to do really well. And it's, so it's really about, giving players some interesting choices throughout the course of the match. Do we go for the night camp here, or do we focus all of our efforts on the mechanic? Or maybe we put some guys on the mechanic, but then we see that we're getting outnumbered there, so we have to pull back and maybe try to go for something else. And really having a lot of variety of things to do on the map, makes for those awesome strategic plays.
And what I've noticed with my time in Heroes of the Storm is matches are quick compared to the average MOBA. And is that something you guys, was that a conscious decision? Did you want to make Heroes of the Storm a little bit more approachable and have players get in and out and learn more quickly?
Yeah, that was definitely a goal early on. We definitely wanted to have shorter matches, and it wasn't just a matter of approachability. I mean, this is, also what we wanted out of the game, where it's just like, man, if you're playing a 75-minute game, it can really, it's dragging on at that point.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's definitely much more refreshing to, get in, 20 minutes and be like, all right, I'm ready for another one, and I still got time on my lunch break, that
Right.
kind of thing.
I feel like with certain genres, for periods of time, there are these, this is the way it has to be done kind of a thing. And something I really respect about Heroes is you guys don't have items. You have flexibility with the talents, and you can choose different talents and different builds as you're leveling up during every game. But why did you guys decide to not include that kind of traditional element?
Well, it took us a long time to get there, for sure. This game has been in development for about 4 years now, and for a decent portion of that development cycle, we had a shop with items and we had gold. And it took a lot of different steps in order to finally get to the point where we could have the system that we had now. Certainly early on, one of our goals was, we wanted this to be a team-centric game. One of the problems that, we saw with some of these other games is that even though it's a team of 5 people, it's really about kind of getting all the gold on one person so they can do all the work at the end. And so it's really cool to have, an MVP in the game, and I think Heroes is certainly capable of that. You can have that game where Stitches gets that blind hook because
Right.
he knew exactly where they were, and that, you pick somebody off that way, or maybe Uther gets that clutch heal and that stun right at the right moment and turns the team fight around. But at the same time, it takes a team to win. And so we really wanted to try to develop the mechanics in such a way that it would really, help with that goal of, team play. And you have to, strategize as a team. Sometimes you might even split up, but that it's really a team decision to know, okay, we need a few heroes here, we need a few heroes there. It's not just about that one player, farming up all the gold.
I feel like for a game like this, the competitive scene is absolutely vital. And Heroes is kind of coming onto the scene at a time where a lot of players and a lot of teams are already established with other things. So with that in mind, how are you guys planning on growing Heroes of the Storm and having it be a presence on the scene?
So at the moment, our focus really is just on the gameplay and, getting this thing to beta and getting more people in and, making it as fun as possible. But I'm really excited to see what happens on the competitive scene. And already you see on Reddit and Twitch, that's starting to form. It's really fun watching Kings of the Storm, for instance. And I'm really impressed with the production value that they have, for this game being an alpha with a smaller audience. We haven't invited that many people in, and yet there's a lot of people forming around this saying, yeah, this is really fun to watch, this is great. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just want to go play more Heroes of the Storm. Thank you, you've been very informative. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good rest of the show, man.
Awesome, thanks, you too.